Hey guys, very good afternoon to all of you. Welcome to the video number 406, and in this video we are going to talk that how to send out the email from your Excel spreadsheet, but we have a condition here. So this is going to be a terrific example for all those who basically wants to connect the Excel with the Outlook, who want to control the MS Outlook from the MS Excel, right? Using the, of course, the Excel VBA, Visual Basic for Excel, So we're going to learn this, and in this video I'm going to upload because I actually received this email from Manjunath. I think it has been 3 weeks back when actually he sent out this email to me, guys. So I want to read it out. Hi Ajay, thank you for amazing videos. I have learned a lot. I have one problem. Can you please help me out? I was enclosed Excel in that F column which is mentioned as a trigger. I have put the VBA program which this cell became one trigger email will be sent to the corresponding email. When I run the program, is automatically overwrites the if condition in the cell F2 my requirement. So basically I'll tell you what exactly he's saying, but you read out the question from here, guys. My requirement is that once the cell F2 changes from 0 to 1, mail should go to the corresponding mail ID. Once trigger email is sent, again trigger should not generate till cell F2 changes from 1 to 0 to 1. So basically this is what actually he has forwarded me, right? So I hope all of you can see this Excel screen. Let me just zoom it out. So now this is what he has, this kind of a product description and a couple of more headers. So what actually we want to do is, what he's saying is, this is where he is targeting. So in this cell, if user go and change this to from 0 to 1, for example, this is already 1, so let's say it is 0 example, and by the way, let me just paste value everything. Okay, so now what happens when the user is going to do this 1, when he's going to insert the 1 here, what should happen? The email should go to this person. Name is manjunathkumar33@gmail.com, right? So I have this email ID here which is repeating, but that's fine. I mean, whatever email we will have here, we will make it dynamic, so the email should go to that person. That's what actually we are trying to do. And now once the email goes back, once the email goes to that person, again, if you want to send the email, then what he's saying is that if this 1 gets changed to 0, then the email should not go. If the 0 changes to 1, then the email should go. So this is what basically we are trying to do here, guys. Okay, so now this is so first of all, let me tell you, if you're watching the channel for the first time, we have crossed 400. The list of the videos are now 400 plus, and we have dedicated all these videos to I personally have dedicated all these videos to all those professionals or learners who want to learn Excel VBA, MS Access, or Access VBA. So what you need to do is, if you are watching the channel for the first time, this is the playlist where you can click. You will find here 44 different playlists, and all these 44 playlists have those amazing 400 plus videos. Right now, this video particularly, to watch this video, what you need to understand is, you should be knowing two things. One is how to connect the Outlook with the Excel, how to control the Outlook with the Excel. And as you can see here, if you go to this, you will find here 34 amazing videos. And now this video which I'm right now recording is going to be the 35th video. All the videos are unique, because every time you ask me a question, that becomes a for me an opportunity to share it with you by uploading the video. So you will find here all these amazing 34 different videos on the different things, on the different areas. That is the first thing. What is the second thing? You should be knowing the Excel VBA event. Now, if you do not know anything about the events, because that is what I'm going to use here, then what you can do is, when you scroll it down here, you will find a playlist which has a name called Excel VBA events. Just in case if you're not able to find it out, like I'm not able to find it out because there are 44 playlists. Oh, all right, there we go, I got it. But otherwise what you can do is, you can also search here, just write events, and it will take you to this Excel VBA events, the playlist. So where was it? Let me just see that. Let me scroll it up. Where is it? Yeah, that's the one. So you see, these are the 8 videos which I have uploaded. Now you don't have to basically watch all these videos randomly. There's a proper way of watching it. As you can see here, the top video which comes, it's a basic level video. So you should watch this 264 video first to understand what are the events, and then this is very important for you. I'm not going to talk much on this intersect and the target which we're going to use. The target property I'm going to use, actually this is a VBA a technique, basically a VBA keyword target, which we're going to use in this video. But just in case if you want to have a very good knowledge you want to really learn how, what is the target, what are the events, you can go and refer to these videos. The rest of all the videos, basically they are all the videos with the different case studies with the different examples, right? So let's come back to the topic now. What we want to do now, Manju says that if I trigger this, if I go in the trigger column and I change anything from 0 to 1, for example this is 0, then the email should go. Now the thing is, here we have a criteria that we are only targeting in the column F, guys. If I do any changes here, like for example I do this double 2, I should not be triggering the email. The email should trigger only when the column is F, and at the same time, if the column is F and that too in that column, your value is 0, and then the 0 is going to change to 1. If you're gonna do the change in the 1 to 0 like this, no email should go. So three conditions we have. One is it has to be the column F. Okay. The second is that the value in that column has to be 0. Okay. And then once you have the 0, then it should convert to 1 as well. This is also something which we would like to do, because after the mail gets triggered, this should be 1. Okay? And then if the user comes back here and write here 0, then it should not. There should be no email which should go. So that is something we are going to do. Now, as I was talking about the events, what are the events? Events basically, let me give you kind of a little brief idea about it, though you can watch those videos for a better, if you really want to want to have a deep study, right? You want to go in depth, you can refer to those videos. Now, basically, events are the self-driven triggers, the self-driven driven macros, right? They run themselves when the condition meet. You have to provide just the condition. They don't wait for your button, that you click on the button and you run the macro. The moment the condition gets satisfied, the automatically the macro will run. So I'm going to put this condition in that event, and I'm going to say that if the column is going to be F, and if the value in the F is going to be 0, and then the new value becomes 0, then immediately fire that email, then call that another macro which is going to actually send out the email. So that's not something I have thought of. So you go to the developer tab, guys, you go to the Visual Basic, and because this is a sheet specific, so you will not write anything in the module for this particular case. I will select the sheet 1 because I have written the code in the sheet 1. This Excel spreadsheet is in the sheet 1. Okay, so I'm going to write my every code in the sheet 1. Now, as I said, that these are the events. You select the worksheet from here, and when the worksheets get selected, what basically we need to do, anytime if the change happens, this you can see here, this is a selection change. Okay, when you click here, you get to see different actually the criteria. These are all called the events. They run themselves. So I'm going to choose the change. Change means that any point in time, if you have a change in your this macro. Okay, so once you have the change in this macro, you will and the change happens in the column K, you want to send the email, right? So I haven't really worked on this. Let's go this. I'm recording this video. While I'm recording this video, I'm trying to understand the question. I'm trying to have my basically think on all the things. I mean, the solution, how we actually can make this code. So if I will have some problem, it is going to be a live problem, and we will sort that out right in the video. I'm not gonna edit the video. Okay, so let's go ahead. So what is the first thing I want to do? So any change happens, for example, if I just put the break code here, and I'm going to show you message box change, for example. Now what do you mean by this? Now you see, the moment I change this to 88, you see that, guys, this is going to run automatically, right? So it will not basically wait for your instructions. That is the first thing. But I don't want to run it if it is any other cell, other than the F column, basically F cells, right? So what I will do is I will first put the condition here. What is the condition? So we will write that if target dot column. So let me first of all show you what we actually want to find it out. So if I just write it target dot column, okay, now the moment I run this, you see what happens. If I just write here maybe 2, now you see my target cell actually was F2, because the change happened there, and immediately I get to see here the column number of my target. It happened in the F column, and F column actually is the 6th column. That is what actually we are planning to do here, right? So I want to target the column number 6. That's how it is going to work. So now what we will do here is that I will write here that if target. Let me first of all increase the font of this so that we can see it. So I go and I just change this to maybe 11. Right, I hope you should be comfortable now. So guys, here I will put the condition that if my target column is going to be equals to 6, okay, then and it has to call a macro email we will create little later, right? Otherwise, if it is not, then simply exit the macro, don't do anything. Okay, so what will happen when I'm going to do any change? For example, I put the break code here. Now you're going to change this to 88. You know that the column is not 6, right? So right now let me just comment this because it shows the error because we haven't created any macro by the email in. But look at this now. You know that what is the target column? It's 3 because I did the change in the column number C. So obviously it is not equals to 6, so it will go in the else and the exit cell, and you are out of your macro, guys. This is what we need to do, right? So if it is in the column number 6, then what I want to do, then further I want to check the condition whether that value is changed to 1, whether the existing value, the value which before the change was, what was the basically that value. So here you will, before you call email, what you're gonna do is you're gonna find out the current value of your target cell. So here I will write that, let me just declare here maybe a variable, let's say active value, or you can write maybe, let's say what we can write the previous value. I write previous val, okay, as long on previous or new val, I'm gonna write here as long. Okay, so two basically variables I have declared. Now when you're going to write here, for example, previous val equals to my target dot value. Let us see what value it is going to give us. This is very interesting. Okay, now when I'm going to run this, for example, I come here and what I do is I change this to, let's say, or maybe this cell, we change this to 1, so the email should go, right? So I'm going to change this to 1. So now is a new value. So when you run this, is the target column 6, so it goes here, and I now want to see that what is the target value. So you can see here the target value shows here as 1. Now you are able to capture that 1. What about that value which was changed, which was the previous value? Basically this is your new value, right? So how are you gonna get that value? That is a main challenge for you. How are you gonna get that value? So guys, you're gonna get that value using the another event. So you're going to say that before this change actually happened, I want to basically, before the user, when the user basically selects this cell, and before it changes to 2 or any other value, the moment it selects that cell, immediately capture that value, right? So that means if I select any cell like this, there has to be some event, there has to be some macro which should run. Right now what we have written is, that is when you go in the cell and do any changes, that's called the macro, which is called the worksheet change. You need a macro should even work when you just select the cell, so that we can immediately capture that value, and once the value changes, then obviously the target dot value will give us the new value. So how to do that? Now there is another event, there's another event which you supposed to know, and that's, I'm going to put it here, which is called the selection. Okay, selection change. The moment your selection gets changed, which means that the moment you select any cell, this is the macro which is going to run. So if I just put the message box here, let me just show you. For example, I'm going to put it here H. Now see what happens. The moment you select any cell, this macro is triggering. Oh, this is fantastic. So the user is going to come here, immediately we will capture that value. This is what we need to do, right? So this is really super cool. I'm loving your question. So now guys, here obviously I'm not going to write here the message box. Okay, so we will do something. What is that? We're going to capture the the variable. So I'm going to write here, let's say the dim previous val. So another good thing, now I want to carry forward this previous val. Okay, I want to use this val from this worksheet selection change to worksheet change, right? So automatically this should be running. So what I will do is I will just cut these both the things, and you just go in the module, insert the module, and you just actually declare them here on the top like this. Okay, and then what you need to do is you just need to actually declare them as global so that we can use them. So I'm gonna declare them as a global. So this is where your macro will run, and then here we're going to actually have a email macro which will be running here. Right now, when you change these variables to the global, it means that it can be accessed from any user form, it can be accessed from any module, from any event as well. We are writing the events here, right? That's how it is going to work, guys. Okay, if you don't understand this, then I'll tell you, basically a variable can be a local variable, it can be a public variable, it can be a global variable. Local variable means it has its life, it can be used till the time the macro is running. The macro stops, macro jumps from one macro to the another, the variable loses its value, it loses its existence. And the public is which can be used in any of the subroutine as long as they are part of the same module, right? So global means it can be accessed from any other module, from any other sheet as well. For more information, you can go and check out the Excel VBA introduction series. When you click on that playlist, you will find a video there, life of a variable, scope of a variable. Just go and check that out, right? So I have declared those variables there, and here I'm going to declare that the previous variable. So I just write here, you don't have to declare it because you have already declared that variable in your module. So I'm going to write here previous val equals to target.value. This should give me the existing value. Now here what I will do, I will put the condition if the previous val is going to be equals to 0, right, and the new val is going to be equals to 1, then what you would like to do, then you would like to call your email macro. So you're going to write here the call email, right? Just in case if this condition doesn't satisfy, no problem, just go in the else mode. Okay, that is what basically we are going to do here, right? Okay, now so here also you can write, so what will happen once you do that change, I think automatically this selection. So if I just put the break code here, for example, let's have a look first of all. So what I do is, you see, I selected this cell. Okay, I selected this cell and automatically this macro will run and the previous value is going to be captured, which is 1. You see in the F4 actually there was a 1. The moment the macro stops here, right, once the macro stops, so what happens, I'm going to actually write here maybe 6, let's say, and I press enter. Now when you press enter, another macro should run, so it gives me the error. So I think I forgot to write the else and if, and so there is a one more actually, you know, we are using the 2if. So I'm gonna write here if the value is this, else do nothing, just write here end if. Okay, now this will run. Now you know that what is the previous value? The previous value was 1, it should have been 0, right? So that means the email should not go, and it's gonna work in the end if and then end if, and the macro will stop. Okay, or maybe you can do one thing, you can also exit the macro from here as well. That's it, simply exit from it so that it should not go here in the, you know, selection change event, right? So now let me do one thing. First of all, let's change this back to maybe 0. Okay, and I'm going to change this to 0, and let's reset the code. Okay, we're going to run this. So guys, the first time when the user opens this workbook, the sheet, okay, he goes here and I want to change this value, which is 0, to 1. So the moment I select this value, you see that it is going to be captured here. It is captured. So we have the previous value. The previous value is going to be, you know, 0. So now what I do is I change this to 1. Press enter. Now when you press enter, let's see that what is the value in the previous val. So the previous val is 0 and the new val actually is, so what is the new val? So the new val should be actually equals to 1, but I think we forgot to write here the new val. So I'm gonna write the new val equals to target, because you want to capture the value, right? Isn't it? You want to capture the value. Okay, so this is going to be captured, and if I just run this again, I have the new target as 1. The target column is obviously 6, so this condition will satisfy, and I'm going to go in the call email, and here we're going to actually send out the email, right? So that's it, guys, and the end if and the end if and the macro stops, right, like this. Okay, now one thing again, let's do a quick check. So if I just go and you know, select this cell, for example, this cell I'm going to select. The moment I select that cell, this worksheet change will fire and it is going to capture my previous value as 2. Okay, now I'm on the same cell. I'm gonna change this to 8. I press enter. Now let us see what is the new value. New value would be obviously 8 because my target is changed to 8. The target column is 6 obviously, so it goes here. Now look at this, guys. This is what I was talking about. The previous value, is 2, which comes from here, right? You can easily carry forward these values because they are actually called the global variables. Okay, you know that this is not going to work, so it should go in the else and exit up, and then here also it should exit. That's it. Okay, so next time if I come back here again, now let's say that now this time going to change this 8. So the moment you select this again will run and it will capture the 8. And now here I'm going to change this to 0. I press enter. Again, let me see what are the values. So the new value is going to be 0 and the previous value is 8. So I think it is able to capture everything, right? That's how I think we can work on this now, right? Okay, so now what we need to do here is I want to actually write the code here, the sub email. Okay, so to send the email, basically you need to send the email. So you want to connect this Outlook, go in the tools and the reference, and we're going to set up the Microsoft Outlook library. I'm gonna work on the Outlook part here, 16.0 because I'm using the Office 2016. So I declare my Outlook as Outlook.application. This I have written n number of times. If you're the regular follower of my channel, you know that what I'm talking about. We have 32 35 videos as I was showing. So I have explained all these things. These are the different classes which we use actually to work with the emails, right? So mail item is a class whenever you want to work with the emails. In this case, obviously we want to work with the emails because we're gonna actually send out the email. So that's how you write create item, and this is what we want to create. We want to create the email item. That's how it is, right? Now with this email, how do you want to send this email? So I'm gonna write here end with. So this email should go where? This email actually should go to the manager. Now who is that manager? So this manager actually we will capture here. Let's say I'm just going to write here manager name. Okay, this is my variable, and I just make it again the global variable. So you can write here the global this variable as string because it is an email ID, right? So I can use this, and then you can write here dot display. Okay, I'm not going to write any other thing like dot cc dot subject or whatever, right? Maybe in the subject, yes, you can write something. As for example, you can write here that uh, please pay attention. Okay, so my subscriber hasn't actually talked about this. He just said that the mail should be triggered, right? So that's how you can that. Anyways, if you want this product description in the body of the email or in the subject, that's all I have already talked about in my previous videos. You can go there and you can see that the videos like how to control the Outlook from the Excel. So that's very easy, right? So this is something interesting and new which we are doing today. Okay, so manager name should what is going to be the manager name? So obviously the manager name, we're capturing this call email. What you will do is here you will declare this after the new val. You're going to write here manager name equals to target. You know that from your target cell how many columns you need to offset on the same row number, and I think on the column number 2 you have a value. Okay, so offset will simply go and move. So for example, this is where this is a 0 column, this is a 1, this is a 2. So that's what I'm going to capture here, right? So I think done with this, and if I just go ahead and run this. So first of all, let me just reset everything. Let me remove this, or maybe I can keep this break code here, and let's just remove this as this particular from the break code. Okay, now you see that I have a 0 here. So 0 I'm going to change to the 1. The moment I click here in the background, that code must have run by now. Okay, it must have run by now. So 0 is going to be captured. Now the moment I'm going to change this to 0 to 1, that event, the new event, which is the sheet change event, will fire. Because I have put the break code, it will not run and it will wait for my instructions, right? So here we want to see that what we have captured. So what is the new val? The new value is obviously 1, which is new value. What is the manager name? Look at this, we got the email. Okay, perfect. And now the target column is obviously 6. So what is the previous value? So the previous value was 0. So it should go now to the call email, and now it's going to create the email and it's going to send the email. You can use the dot send as well. Don't use the dot display. I'm just demonstrate this how it is going to work. I'm using the dot display, but otherwise you can use the dot send. Email will go and you can see that the email is drafted. Okay, perfect. And the macro will come and the stop. That's what actually we needed. Now let me just do some more testing on that, because I haven't tested this code. I'm making this code right away. So now I'm going to change this to 0, 1 to 0, and the email should not go, right? So I just do this 0. Now you see that, see, you're able to find this value. So what is the previous value? Previous value is 1, and what is the new value? The new value is 0. Okay, so this email should not go. That's it. It's working, I think. Okay, now let me come back and maybe in this. So I'm going to change this to 1, and the email should go to this person, right? And maybe this time what I can do, I can go and type mismatch. All right, just a second, because I'm working on the different things. So I'm just going to write here maybe something else. So let's say, let me change this to maybe that one. I'll just press enter. The moment you press enter, you know that the changes happen in the column. So obviously the macro will immediately stop. Now, very important thing, see what happened. It throws the error of the type mismatch. Why? Because basically the target value which you are basically declaring here, it says the target as range, right? So this new val you have declared that new val. If you look at this in the module, I show you in the module 1, you declared that new val as long, guys. Okay, now if it is long, it cannot be a text, because you did some changes in the column H, which is a string. So that is why, guys, let's declare this as a variant. Let the VBA decide, okay? Because otherwise you will get the type mismatch error if you do any changes in the string, right? It shouldn't be long, because I do not know which value I'm gonna change. My user is gonna change in this, right? Because user is free to do any changes in this entire sheet. The only thing is that if he does the changes in the column F, and if the change is from 0 to 1, then the email should go. But otherwise he's free to do any changes, like I have done the change here, right? So type mismatch should not come. So better we declare that data type as variant. Now I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna change this to 1. Let us see if the mail is drafted. So there we go. You see that the email is going to work, and this time the email should go to the, let's see, the new email ID, and you can see here it's ATHKUMAR, which is perfect. I think the code is working super. Okay, so we do this no, and now what I will do, I will simply remove the breakcode from here. Okay, or maybe just to show you, for example, I do some changes here. So I'm going to change this to 7. What happens? This is a column B. So what should happen? Immediately your condition should fail here. And look at this, guys. Because target column is not 6, it's 2, right? You did the changes in the column B and the macro will stop. And that's what we need. So I think the code is working perfect. Now what I will do is, I will simply go and change this to 0 to 1. Let's see what happens. Let me press enter. Okay, look at this mail goes here. You can also put the message box so that the user should not keep on, the user should wait also. Should wait for the, because when he presses enter, for a moment the macro will go in that processing mode. So maybe immediately you can write here that the email is triggered. Maybe you can write here the email is triggered, right? So here you can put the message box, email sent. Maybe this is something you can do it, right? And one more thing you can do, I think you can use the application screen updating as false, so that the macro should immediately run. This is going to bring the speed, but before it, when it comes back to the original, this after sending the email, please ensure that before it exit, you should actually have that back to true. Okay, or maybe here also, if the macro is not going to trigger any email, then here also before it exit, it should actually be true, back to true. Okay, this is the by default, this is how it remains, right? So I come back here. Now I'm gonna send this email here to 1, and I just change this to maybe a@outlook.com. Okay, I press enter here. See that macros must be running in the background, but I don't see it as a user, because this doesn't take much time. The change happened in the column H, which is not 6 columns, so macro immediately would have exit from there, right? So I come here, I press 1, and there we go, email sent, guys. And this is going to take little time like this. Our machine may take lesser time than my, but it depends machine to machine, but ultimately it's not going to impact much. Okay, it's very 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 fast process. So you can see here the email is drafted to the perfect person. I click on the no. If I go and do the changes here, maybe let me change the one here again. You see that the email sent. Okay? And the email should go. See here, we have the email done. So this is working, right? I say no. Now again I come back here and it changes to 0. So the email should not go, right? So I press enter and there you go. You see that nothing happened. There's no email coming, right? So if you go here, change this to 0, nothing happens. If you go and change this to 0, nothing happens. Why? Because when we put the breakcode here, just in case if you want to further understand, this worksheet change event is very important, guys. Remember, this is a one-line code, but this is capturing the previous value, the value which is before the user actually go and in the cell and changes the value. What is the previous value? It is storing that, and then it is going to use. And look at this concept, how wonderfully we basically are using them as a global variables. You can't use the local variables here, otherwise you will not be able to make this code. Now what happens, I change this 1 to 0. Now what happens when you press enter? So look at this, because your target column is obviously 6, it goes here, but the previous value is 1 because you changed 1 to 0. So this immediately goes in the else mode and exit from there, right? So this is all about your macro, and this is really working very cool. Now this is the basically your, and pause the video, you can see that, right? So remember, I have written this code in the sheet 1. If you have a different sheet, you go there and write it there. Don't write this code in the module, because in the module, if you try to find that target word like this, you will not be able to find, guys. Target word is specially given for these events. Target means that the events when they run, what was the cell? Okay, what was the value in that cell? So worksheet change means any change happens when you overwrite the values or when you write something in the empty cell. Selection change means that you may not be interested in changing the value, but you are changing your selection. You're going from A1 to A2 using the mouse or the keyboard, whatever. That's how these combinations of two events combinations can make this classic code. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and this has again given you a new insight. It has taken this code to the next level, I'm sure, because I loved making this code. So thank you so much, Manju. Thanks for sharing this, and I hope people around the world, when they watch this video, they will appreciate your session. So guys, I'll see you soon, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support me. We'll talk something more exciting very soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.